Thank you both so much for being here. We've got Melonie Johnson, the President and Chief Operating Officer of MGM National Harbor, and Lori Kalani, our Chief Responsible Gaming Officer of DraftKings. So great to have both perspectives of one of the most successful physical casinos in the country, as well as one of the top online gaming platforms. Lori, I'd love to just start with you. What's one key initiative, as you sit here, as we're talking about responsible gaming, that DraftKings has undertaken around responsible gaming that's resonating with your customers?
So that's a great question. From a big picture, we're really working to promote RG awareness to help our customers educate themselves and really develop, healthy gaming habits. So one thing that we did recently was we launched something called My Stat Sheet, which is an interactive sheet of data that all of our customers can see that lets them assess all of their personal stats, so they can see their play over the last month, year, and lifetime of their account. And we believe that that data-driven information will help them to make healthy gaming decisions. And it's gone great so far. We're eliciting feedback from our customers, but what we're seeing so far is between that and our new RG Center, which is just a really easy to use repository of all of our tools, we're seeing a 10x rate at which people are interacting with those resources.
That's great. That's great to see. Melonie, how do you all handle that at MGM? I have to imagine that with the physical casino, balancing those responsible gaming initiatives with quality kind of guest experiences is something that you're thinking a lot about.
Well, at MGM Resorts, we're taking a holistic approach on how we manage responsible gaming and taking care of our patrons while taking care of our employees as well. What we've done is we've implemented a program called GameSense. And this is a system that we purchased from the British Columbia Lottery Corporation, and it's designed to educate patrons on how to game responsibly, how to set an entertainment budget. But what we've done is we've trained all of our employees. So we have employees that are customer facing, and they get a real in-depth training on how to sense or detect the signs that a patron may be struggling with gaming. And one of the first things we say is, if it's not fun, you should not game. So we've got programs in place where we've certified 500 employees to be advisors, GameSense advisors, of which 160 are at MGM Resorts in National Harbor. And what happens is these guys are proficient in explaining to guests the hows, the whys, the whens, and most importantly, setting an entertainment budget. There has to be a budget. Throughout our property, we've got guides, pamphlets, brochures. We've got messaging on our slot machines, on the digital throughout the gaming floor, at the cage, our MGM Rewards desks and slot pits, on ATM machines, on the check cashing machines, and as well as our ticket redemption machines. And also we have information in all of our hotel rooms. So it's readily available for any guest. Our employees are trained. If they see a customer and the customer is saying, I'm having problems, we pull the customer aside and we immediately contact one of the advisors, and they take them to an office, and we sit down and we take a holistic approach where we're very empathetic. We want to understand their concerns. Some of the questions are, what issues are you having right now? Are you sad when you're coming in? Do you feel like you're obligated to play? Have you created a budget? So it's a whole educational process that we're putting in place to help that customer. Also, we've got self-excluded programs that we've incorporated. If a guest says, I'm struggling, we have a program where the customer can voluntarily self-exclude themselves and not game at all. So what happens with MGM Resorts, once the customer exempts themselves from any of our property, they're exempt from all of our properties. So that helps the customer. And another thing we put in play, if the customer decides, I have difficulties budgeting my entertainment funds, we can put them on a no-mail list, exempt them from getting casino credit, exempt them from cashing checks or getting credit card advances, and then putting a limit on the amount that they can game on a daily basis.
Wow, it's amazing to hear such a thorough approach and so deeply integrated into the physical guest experience, which obviously is important for those physical casinos like an MGM National Harbor. Lori, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about sort of the changing face of gaming. The average age of online gamblers is now 34. Younger players becoming an increasingly prominent demographic in terms of trying out these new tools and new apps. Are there any differences when it comes to effectively promoting and developing responsible gaming for younger audiences compared to older audiences?
Well, so we started a place from believing that everybody should know about responsible gaming. This should be, like Melonie said, fun and entertainment. And when it's not fun and entertainment, those customers shouldn't be playing. But with respect to the under 25-year-olds, we do have a specific campaign for them. We want to get that RG information out to that demographic early and often. And so what happens is if somebody under 25 years old signs up for a new account, they are shown the limits and encouraged to use them. But then 5 days later, we contact them again and again encourage them to use the limits. And then on day 14, there's another touch point where we're doing myth busting and trying to educate them and give them some tips on playing. And then we send bi-monthly emails to them. And we follow that up and reinforce it with bi-monthly in-app pop-ups that are sending them messages. So we're trying to really meet that demographic where they are and meet them in real time, also send the emails, and really just drive this healthy gaming behavior. Keep it fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Because as we say, it's more fun when it's for fun.
Absolutely. Like you said, if you're not having fun, then you shouldn't be doing it. And I think it's super smart to hear that, how it's integrated, not just into that first time experience, but as you're using DraftKings over time. Are there any advice you would have to like other operators? You all have done so much in this space to encourage responsible gaming, especially among younger audiences.
Well, look, I think we all compete, but this is one area where we all need to come together and share best practices and share what we're learning, because we are scaling and innovating and we are learning. We're using customer feedback. And so there's a lot of research out there. I think the more that we as the industry can get together and really be on the same page and send the same message, hopefully this will become a cultural thing where just like I would balance my checkbook, I would make sure that I'm adhering to this budget. So I think that that's really the advice is, at least from my perspective, is I want to talk to all of the other companies and hear what they're doing so we can take the best ideas and implement them.
Definitely. Well, that's great. And you make such a good point there that even though there's a lot of competition in the marketplace, this is a real unified face of the industry. Melonie, wanted to come back to some of the examples that you gave across so many different responsible gaming touch points for the customer across their MGM experience. The casino gaming industry at times has faced skepticism around gambling practices, and is there an authenticity around those responsible gaming measures across all of those things that you're doing and the ways you're addressing those with the customers? Are there certain forms of promoting responsible gaming or certain like tools that you all have developed that you feel like has truly landed and resonated with customers and made the biggest impact?
The biggest impact for us has come through GameSense. It's a phenomenal platform that we're using on a day-to-day basis. And what we're doing to keep our employees well-trained and well-versed on the subject matter, we have refresher courses every year. This year, in particular, in September, since it's Responsible Gaming Education Month, MGM Resorts has contributed $440,000 for research with the International Center for Responsible Gaming, as well as the Kindbridge Research Institute. We're going to take the results of those studies, which will be done by gaming operators as well as academics, and incorporate those into our GameSense programs to ensure that we've got the best practices out there so we can provide this knowledge, this information, and this training to both our employees and our guests when they come on our property. So it's a constant evolution of what we're doing, reinforcement, and then being hands-on on a day-to-day, and it's just part of our culture. It's become organic for MGM Resorts.
Absolutely. And at that point on integrating it into the employee culture, obviously you all employ more than 3,000 people here in Maryland, having that be a big part of the culture, that makes a lot of sense. We're a little low on time, but before we go, when we think about gaming today, I mean, innovation comes to mind. You know, technology. There's always new experiences in person at the casino. There's always new innovations in you know, in the apps and in experiences like DraftKings. Lori, we start with you, but we'd love to hear from both of you. Just as technology is advancing, what are you most excited about with the future of the gaming industry?
I'm most excited about the ability to use machine learning and models that can help us continue to learn and continue to look for things. So for example, we are now using machine learning to monitor all communications with DraftKings. So everything that a customer writes in about, we're using that machine learning to identify where there may be potentially problematic behavior. And when we recognize that, we then send that to our dedicated player protection team, who is trained and refreshed and trained and refreshed and trained to really interact with those customers and understand where we can possibly help them, whether it's limit setting or taking a break or setting alerts. So I think as the technology improves, we will improve and we will continue to scale, and we will continue to try to make sure that all of our customers are on our platform, are having a good time and using it for entertainment purposes.
That's great. No, it seems like such a useful way to implement AI and machine learning to get those actionable insights, to keep it, like you said, keep it fun and responsible. Melonie, what about you? What sort of innovations get you excited about the future of gaming over at MGM?
Well, very similar. AI, of course, is the wave of the future, and we're taking advantage of that. But what we're excited about is we can take advantage of AI, but we still have that human interaction with it. So we have the personal touches with the guest to ensure that our guests are coming, they're happy, we're providing something for them, because we want to ensure that this is a happy entertainment experience. So it's a combination of AI with that human connection.
That's great. That's great. And like you both said, keeping it fun, it seems like lots of ways to do that. Thank you both again so much for being here. And thanks again to the American Gaming Association for their partnership.